Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Richmond Hill's Committee of Adjustment meeting this evening. We'll start with the land acknowledgement. We are gathering on lands that have been home to the First Nations people from time immemorial. We acknowledge that we now call Richmond Hill is on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and Mississauga and Chippewa Nations of the Williams Treaty. We also recognize that we are on part of the traditional territories of Haudenosaunee and the Huron-Wendat. We would also acknowledge that all First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people from all across North America, also known as Turtle Island, who now reside in the city of Richmond Hill, we are committed to rebuilding constructive and cooperative relationships with all of them. We'll go to the preamble now with the Secretary.
Good evening. In the event of an emergency, please exit this room. Outside of the double doors are two stairwell exits. The one on the right exits to the south side of the building, and the one on the far side of the elevators exits to the main lobby. Do not use the elevators or return to the building until directed. We ask all committee members, city staff, and members of the audience to please silence your cell phones. The Committee of Adjustment for the City of Richmond Hill has been appointed by Council to consider applications for minor variance and consent within the jurisdiction of the Planning Act. The chair will call the applicant to the podium to present their application and will allow members of the public to comment. When members of the public approach the podium, please do so one person at a time. Please note the public deputation form beside the podium. Please clearly write your name, address, and indicate on the form if you wish to be added to the notification list for the application you are speaking for. State your full name and address to the committee before speaking. When speaking, please address all comments through the chair. Once the committee makes a decision on an application, no further discussion is allowed inside council chambers. No one other than the applicant, the municipality, certain public bodies, and the minister will be allowed to appeal municipal decisions to the tribunal within 20 days of the making of the decision. All appeals and associated fees must be filed directly with the Secretary Treasurer in accordance with the Planning Act. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are joined by our Secretary Treasurer, Ms. Courtney Cullum, and assisting her is Lisa Patera. From our Planning Department, we have Mr. Darren Ding assisting us tonight. Do we have any conflicts of interest this evening on either side? Ms. Payne? No. Do we have any requests for deferrals or adjournments or withdrawals?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we do have a request for a deferral for application CN 2512 at 11198 Bayview Avenue.
Okay, so that would be agenda item number E. All right, thank you for letting us know. And with that, we will start our first application of this evening. We actually have 4 applications, all of them related to 42 Pearson Avenue. And there are severances and variances. If you can please present them all. Thank you.
Members, my name is Santino Acchione. I'm the owner of 42 Pearson. I also live at 37 Claridge, which is right next door to the subject property. I'm here tonight to answer any questions on the severance and the required variances. The plan in summary is to create 2 lots of some 55 and 56 feet in frontage and to build 2 homes on the site. There'll be a small strip left over, which will be merged into 37 Claridge. The severance package in front of you reflects the footprint of the homes. The homes are 2 stories. The lots are about 5,800 square feet, which is typical in the new urban form of smaller lots. There are a few minor variances in the application with the severance to support it. I agree with the staff report, and hopefully it's not too brief, but that is my presentation.
Thank you so much. Not at all. Does anyone in the audience wish to express any comments or concerns regarding 42 Pearson Avenue. There are 4 applications, 2 for severances and 2 for minor variances. Seeing none, any comments from our planning department tonight?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no comments.
Okay, do we have any comments from our members of the committee? Yes, Ms. Payne, please go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the planning staff, when a property is granted a demolition permit and that permit expires, is there any penalty to the owner?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to council member, to committee member, I do not have that answer in front of me, but I can check with our building staff to see how we can monitor the process if the building, if the demolition permit is not in place.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Duretz.
Through the chair, to the applicant, I'm just wondering if you're aware of the engineering comment with respect to the requirement for minimum offset from the edge of the driveway to the property line to accommodate swale drainage?
It was brought to my attention, and yes, I am, and yes, I agree with it.
Okay, and does the plan that you've identified here currently allow for that, or are you?
It doesn't reflect that, and when I discussed it with Darren, the other Darren, planning, we thought just leave it as a condition rather than changing the plans at the last minute and causing confusion. So no, it does not, but I understand the condition.
Okay, that's great. In any event, the request for the widening of the driveway will accommodate, even if you reduce it a little bit, at least you're covered.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, very good.
Good. Any other comments? Okay, if not, then I would entertain a motion on all 4 applications. Yes, Mr. Duretz.
Through the chair, I would like to make a motion for items A, B, C, and D on the agenda, all located at 42 Pearson Avenue. These are file numbers B004/21 and MV25-27, as well as file numbers B005/21 and A013/21, that these applications be approved, subject to the terms and conditions in the city's staff report.
Thank you. Moved by Mr. Duretz, seconded by Ms. Payne. All in favor? Unanimous. It's approved. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Seeing that item E on the agenda, Bayview Avenue is deferred, we are going to go to item F in the agenda. That would be application MV25-42, located at 370-386 Tower Hill Road. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. My name is Stephen DeSantis. I'm the applicant for minor variance MV 2542. I agree with city staff's report and have nothing further to add. If there are any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone in the audience wish to address this application? It relates to parking spaces at 370 to 386 Tower Hill Road. Seeing none, any comments from the planning department?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no comments.
Okay, do we have any comments from our committee members? If not, I would request a motion. Mr. Gossi.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve item F on today's agenda, file number MV-25-42 at 370 to 386 Tower Hill Road, subject to terms and conditions in the staff report.
Moved by Mr. Gossi, seconded by Mr. Duretz. All in favor? It's approved unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to item G in the agenda, located at 190 Center Street. That would be application number MV25-38. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Chair. My name is Mason. My last name is Senglaki from Rock Hill Design and Built Inc., representing Mr. Zhang for 190 Central Street West. I'm here with regards to the 3 variances. Both of them, 2 of them is from the side setback on the east side. First floor from 1.5 to 1.22. On the second floor from 3.0 to 1.22 on a the next is a height increase it from 8.5 to 10.06.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Does anyone in the audience wish to express any comments or concerns regarding this application located at 190 Center Street? Seeing no one. Planning Department, do you have any comments?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no comments.
All right, committee members, if not, I would entertain a motion. Yes, Ms. Payne.
Through you to planning, I think. This is an established, mature neighborhood. And I don't see a great deal of evidence of new large homes. So I'm wondering, why disrupt an existing established neighborhood? I don't have an elevation drawing for this building, but I'm assuming it's the,
Elevation drawing has been submitted to the staff, and in this neighborhood, we've done a few other projects very similar to this. And actually, the few houses down from this, 160 Century Street, were actually a smaller variance and extra height. And a few other projects in Melbourne area has been constructed as far as you're concerned for the neighborhood. So that's a new normal screen.
Would it be possible to put the elevation on screen, either yourself or who?
I'm not sure if staff have.
Yeah,
an area with a lot of mature trees and a well-maintained neighborhood that I kind of look on this as being quite disruptive.
Yeah, you can
get it
put
on
it
the
on
screen?
the,
Please have it in mind, this application has been in front of the committee and has been approved with a slightly different drawing. So this is very similar to that.
Ms. Payne, you have the elevations. If you have any further comments, let us know.
I think my comment stands that I find this disruptive to an existing, mature, established neighborhood. It's kind of the first one. And driving around today, I think it's worthwhile to consider preserving mature neighborhoods for the people who live there.
Okay, thank you for your input. Any other comments from our committee members? Seeing none, I would request a motion. Oh, Mr. Gossi.
For you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve item G on today's agenda at 190 Center Street, file number MV-25-38, subject to terms and conditions in the staff report.
Moved by Mr. Gossi, seconded by Ms. Kalbas. All in favor? All against? It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is item H on the agenda, located at 24 Mockingbird Drive. It's application number MV-25-34. Yes. Go ahead. Before you present, I just want to quickly ask if anyone in the audience will want to address this application? Because I think the person who objected is not here today. None? Okay, you can present.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Chair and member of committee. My name is Chris Liu. I'm representing the owner of 24 Mockingbird Drive. We're we're going to ask city for relief of the height, which is we are about 3.8 meters higher than the average grade, and which is 1.08 meters higher than the required by law. We generally agree with the staff report. I would like to put this forward in front of the committee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I will repeat. Does anyone in the audience wish to address this application? Seeing none. Any comments from the planning department?
Through Mr. Chair, no comments.
Okay. Before I go to my committee members, I mean, I do understand that it's already built and you're coming to us after the fact. We normally don't like that because you should have asked for a permission before you applied.
I understand.
Okay. And you also understand that one of your neighbors has objected quite substantially and you've communicated back and forth with him. He had requested a deferral because he wasn't able to attend today. I mean, again, our members can decide that. Having said that, I would like to see if our members have any comments on this application. Yes, Mr. Duretsi.
Through the chair. Yes, I did read through the comments of the neighbor, and many of those comments were well put. And they raised some interesting concerns, particularly with the location of the pergola being so close to the lot line, and as well as some concerns about height. And then after reading your rebuttal to some of their concerns, it appears that you have every intention to relocate it away
Correct.
from the lot line.
Yes.
And I would agree in terms of the height, the industry standard is to measure height from the average grade rather than the low point. So I'm not too concerned about the height as well of that. What's the intention with those roller shades that they were concerned about in terms of blocking off the privacy? Is that going to stay in place, or are you planning to remove those? Or?
The shade are for, those are just for the sun. But most of the time, the shades is up.
Okay.
And it is not gonna block any view from neighbors' window. We also had a drawing that shows a 135-degree project line that is kind of, it will miss our pergola as well from the neighbor's view. So.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's great. I understand the concerns, and I understand how you have explained how you will deal with it. I don't have any further questions or issues with the application.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duretsi. Any other comments from our members on this application? Yes, Mr. Gossi, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I had a couple questions for the applicant. So the first question is, I wasn't able to determine, was this a custom-built structure or was it an out-of-the-box purchase?
This is not a custom structure. This is a prefabbed structure.
Okay.
Beforehand.
And then my next question is, what prompted you to come to the Committee of Adjustments? Was there a complaint by your neighbor, bylaw officer?
Yeah, as we started the process from a complaint, and then we're putting forward a building permit, and then because we are kind of close to the lot line, so we're able to comply some of the bylaws, but we're requesting a height relief only, and we're also setting back the deck as well.
Yes, Ms. Payne, go ahead.
In your adjustment of this pergola, are you moving it closer to the house? Because there seems to be, I don't know, about 6 feet between the house and the pergola?
Actually, we're right at the bump out of the building. There was a pergola previously, and the orientation of it just became larger now.
Okay, well, I took pictures today,
Right.
and it looks to me like there's about 6 feet between the back of your house and where the pergola starts, and then it extends out even more. I couldn't get into the backyard to see it, but I just took it from over the fence. So what is the distance between the back wall of the house and where this pergola standing, or is intended to be standing, because you're going to be moving it?
From the plan, actually, the pergola is gonna next to the rear bump out part of the building. It's probably, we're talking about a couple centimeters away, but we're kind of right at the rear bump out area.
So sorry to interrupt you. It's just touching the building, right? Almost touching the building. It's not 6 feet away.
It's not 6 feet
Yeah.
away, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
The existing
Yeah.
now is pretty far away, but now we're moving it towards the building.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're moving it in closer to the building and you're
Yes.
moving it over 4 feet,
Away, yes, as well.
right? But you're still going to have blinds that come down and block visibility.
The blinds is temporary
Blinds.
for shade only, like for blocking some of the sunlight. But during the day or during majority of the time, it's up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from our?
Yes,
Seeing none? Yes, Mr. Gossi.
I had one
Oh,
more
you
quick
have one?
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just want to clarify and confirm the pictures you had sent in your response here, the pergola looks smaller. Is that correct? Is it going to be a smaller footprint, or is the kind
The
of,
pergola is 3.5 meters by 5.25 meters. The width and the length doesn't change, but only the orientation. We're changing it 90-degree, but we'll also bring closer to the building, and then we're also shifting away from the property line.
Yes, Mr. Gossi, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So I personally don't have a problem with this file. However, the structure's already there, and I would like to hear what your neighbor has to say. So my personal opinion is I would recommend a deferral at no cost, because the structure's already there, and I'd like to hear what the neighbor has to say. Just my opinion.
If there's no other comments, we have an option to defer or, yeah, just as, oh, yes. Would you like to say something, sir? Go ahead. Yeah.
Committee, my name is Jing Lu. I'm the owner of 24 Mockingbird.
Yes.
First of all, I apologize to my neighbor about the confusion and the emotion going through this process. I don't want to find excuse for myself, but there was a taller privacy wall, and when this pergola was built, I didn't anticipate objection from him. But now I realize that he has a concern over the view and all that. At the same time, I respectfully disagree with all the evidence he provided. Based on, I did send to the committee a letter responding to that. So basically, this is an attempt to move the pergola away from my neighbor, and also is satisfying all the setback requirement for the side yard. And this pergola is even lower than my door frame. just because of the elevation, I would say, and for lack of a better term, I'm not a professional, but this pergola, it is sitting on a deck that on a deep slope. That's why, if we're calculating the average grading, it's 1.08 meters taller, but in reality is 3 meters, only 25 centimeters taller than, the bylaw requirement.
You mean
So-
only 1 inch taller?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the reality. The thing is, I respect your comments on deferring. At the same time, I felt that the objection is well articulated, and I did have the time to respond to it as well in civilized way, if I can put it that way.
We
right?
understand all that, sir.
Yeah, so that's all.
Are you concerned about a deferral, or would you like us to decide today?
My concern about the deferral is the timing of the work. So, because I applied for the work permit and because a minor variance is delayed, and let's say if we defer it to the next meeting, and any work after that will be in winter. Like if for example, if I have to make any changes to the pergola or my deck, it may not be doable in the winter time. That's my only concern. I don't mind speaking face to face to my neighbor. He's a well-educated gentleman.
No, I understand your comment.
Yeah,
You
I'm
don't
not
have to say
concerned
anymore.
about
That's fine.
anything else.
No. Just to our secretary treasurer, when would the earliest it can be heard if it was deferred?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the next available meeting would be October 23rd.
Okay. I'm going to leave it to my committee members how they wish to make a motion. Yes, Mr. Gossi, go ahead. Mr. Derezzi. Mr. Gossi, toggle off.
Through the chair, I would like to make a motion for minor variance application item H, located at 24 Mockingbird Drive. That's file number MV-25-34 be approved, subject to the terms and conditions in the city's staff report.
Moved by Mr. Derezzi, seconded by Ms. Kalbas. All in favor? All against? It's approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our next application is application number MV25-33, located at 6 Sanderson Crescent.
Good evening, committee members and Mr. Chair. My name is Kwok Oi Leong, and I'm representing my client, the owner of 6 Sanderson. My address is 40 Bloomfield, Toronto, M4L2G3. The subject property, the item here was in front of you on last meeting on July 24th. And could I have the presentation up, please? And, this is the front elevation of our project, and then if you could scroll down, Lisa, please, down to the next page. And this is a site plan just showing the existing versus the new build. As you can see that we're asking for 3 variances. One is the one for the main house for front yard setback, which is actually descending from the max point to decrease. And also the other one would be because of the front yard. So we have the stairs enclosed into the front yard too. And as recommended last time, I reduced it to 2.4 meters, 2.5 meters away from the front property line. And the last variances would be the one at the back of the house regarding to the stairs for the wood deck at the back. And that is really pretty a minor one. And if you could go down one more page, please. So this site plan, this picture actually shows, the diagram shows that the red area there is the assault right area. And if everything is built within the assault right area without any variances, the problem with this would be we are going to be overlooking both number 10, and we are going to be looking at number 27 Mavens, not just the rear yard garage, I mean, not just the rear yard, but the whole house. So that's why we set the house forward a bit. And this is one of the things that we request. And also, we tilted the house from its original position to work more toward the front because of the tree right next to it on the lower right-hand side. And we also have a permit for that. Without removing it, we are simply just injured it. And next page, please, Lisa. So this is a more of a aerial view of from Google. Then you can see the impact of the assault right buildings versus our proposed building right now. And that's one of the main reasons that we are requiring, asking for the variances. And next, please. And here's some of the building already built or being built around the area. As you can see that we kind of do a study on this, but in the same time, we try to use more natural materials for the exterior. We use brick and stone rather than metals, like some of the houses there. And the actual look of the house is more of a traditional classic rather than some modern or transitional design. And next page, please, Lisa, thanks. And here's the sun path that I graphed from one of the weather webpage, which shows the sun path of March 21st, June, September, December. And the dot there on the yellow line, which represent 12 o'clock. So for most of the day, I believe we make no impact to most of the neighbor next to us and that. And again, we are not sneaking for any lot coverage, FSI, height. We don't have any of them. All that we are asking for is to push the building forward so that we'll have a more space for the rear yard and away from 27th, and also not to overlook number 10.
Understood. No, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you. I'll be
appreciate
happy to
your-
answer any question after the.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. So anyone wishing to address this from the audience, the application at 6 Sanderson Crescent, we would welcome a representative who can represent most of the people. Yes, Pat, if you can.
Through you, Mr. Chair, first, can we just remind everyone to please sign in before speaking?
Yes. Go ahead.
Can I ask how many submissions were received, please?
We'll let our Secretary Treasurer respond to that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, 7 letters of opposition were received.
Thank you. Good evening. Before I start, I should make the committee aware that the letters sent out making residents aware of this meeting were received only 1 to 3 days in advance. At least 2 residents sent in emails about the letters, and neither have received a courtesy of a response. So there was very little time in order to prepare for this for some of the residents. In addition, the sign on the property is placed. Can I have this on, please? In addition, the sign on the property is placed behind a tree barrier, barely visible from the road. Question: does the committee find this acceptable? Rules are meant to be followed, not broken. These variance requests require the applicant to meet all 4 tests of the Planning Act. If any test fails, the application must be denied. Test number 1. Do the proposed variances meet the general intent of the official plan? And the staff report says compatible new development should represent a good fit within the physical context and character of the surrounding areas, which this proposed dwelling does. In reality, no, it doesn't, as I'll prove. In the staff report, it also states the neighborhood features a mixture of older and newer single detached dwellings. The proposed dwelling is incompatible with and in keeping with the overall character of the residential neighborhood. The overall massing of the proposed dwelling is similar to the built form of the dwellings in the surrounding area. In reality, if you examine the photo and identify the one that deviates from the neighborhood's character, you're right if you said this application. There are about 220 homes in the neighborhood with only 9 new builds. None of these new homes match the neighborhood's character or built form. Test number 2. Do the proposed variances meet the general intent of the zoning bylaw? In the staff report, it states the proposed front yard setback and porch encroachment into the front yard setback maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw and is not expected to result in adverse impacts on adjacent properties or the usability of the subject lands or negatively impact the streetscape along Sanderson Crescent. In reality, in fact, the front yard setback does exactly the opposite. The neighbor at number 10 will open their front door and look onto an approximate 32-foot high wall, extending approximately 15 feet beyond the established building line. A definite adverse impact. The front stairs encroachment means there is only 15 feet 4 inches from the stairs to the property line. I would ask the planning department through the chair, is there any other property in the neighborhood with a front yard setback of only 15 feet? How does this not negatively impact the streetscape and maintain the neighborhood's overall character? Test number 3. Are the proposed variances considered desirable for the appropriate development of the land? In the staff report, it states the proposed construction maintains the existing residential use of the subject lands and is compatible with the existing character and physical context of the neighborhood, particularly with respect to the building massing, scale, and the patterns of existing yard setbacks. The reality, first, almost a 32-foot high wall is imposing and will negatively affect the neighbor and neighborhood and is not compatible with the existing character. Number 2, the established building line is violated to a substantial degree and is not compatible with the existing character. Number 3, the distance of 15 feet from the stairs to the front lot line is not compatible with the existing character. Test number 4. Are the proposed variances considered minor in nature? The staff report states the proposed variances are considered minor in nature as a proposed dwelling will not adversely impact the neighborhood. Furthermore, the proposed dwelling will not result in negative impacts to the streetscape. In reality, 43.13% variance of the front yard setback is substantial, not minor. Secondly, 136.25% variance of the porch encroachment is substantial, not minor. This would have a significant impact on neighbors and the streetscape. It does not align with the official plan or the zoning intent. Adhering to bylaws and preserving the neighborhood's character are instances of sound planning. Conversely, I have endeavored to demonstrate that this proposal fails short of sound planning and does not follow the four tests of the Planning Act. I asked 2 questions. If you wouldn't mind answering them.
Are you done? Is there more?
Pardon?
Are we finished?
You asked if there was any questions.
I asked if there are any questions.
We will respond once we've heard all the neighbors.
Can you respond to my questions?
Yes, we will.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but not right now.
Do you want me to leave them here?
Good evening. Before I start, I'd like to ask the gentleman's what his name might be.
Darren Ding.
Okay, so
Mr.
he's
Darren
not the planner that wrote the report on this then?
No, he's not.
Okay, in my emails to the city, I asked and suggested that the manager of real estate be here. I'm sorry?
What's your name, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Chris Harriet. I live at 6 Sanderson Crescent, across the street from the subject property.
Okay.
So I had requested that the manager of real estate attend this meeting. Was that suggestion given any consideration?
I'm not aware of that request, but
The emails that I sent in were circulated to the committee.
yes.
Did you not receive my emails?
I'm going to defer that decision of who attends the meeting to our secretary treasurer. It's not my,
Is the secretary
Protocol to invite.
treasurer here tonight? Could you tell me why the manager of real estate is here?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we do not have a manager of real estate at the city. We do have our director, and she is not in attendance tonight.
May I ask why?
I can't speak for her.
You can't speak for her.
No.
Is the position of manager of real estate vacant, something to be filled later?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I apologize. You're referring to a manager of real estate, and that's not a position that would be involved with the Committee of Adjustment. Correct me if I'm wrong, I would assume you're speaking to a manager and you'd be speaking of a manager in planning or director in planning?
I'm speaking to someone with experience to do with real estate, adverse and injurious affection.
Do not have that available to us.
okay, I just like to interrupt this for a minute.
Mhm.
The planning issues are at hand here. We are not involved with real estate marketing matters in this committee or in the planning department. That is my
The
understanding.
thing is, your Director of Planning, is that his title?
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Our Director of Planning was aware of the request, but staff do not appear on demand. for the-
I understand that. What I'm saying is that that Director of Planning said there was no adverse effect to the surrounding properties. My point is the Director of Planning doesn't have the qualifications or experience to address that, but a Director of Real Estate or Manager of Real Estate, and the city had one at one time because I applied for the job at one time. So I know. And if you're going to talk about adverse effect on property, you really need someone with a real estate background. But in any event, I will proceed.
Please proceed and
Okay.
do not repeat anything we have already
Obviously,
heard.
I'm here in opposition to the application. For 50 years, I have been an appraiser negotiator for the regions of York, Peel, and Durham, as well as an agent for Consumers Gas in the real estate department. Before retiring, I held the CRA designation, which is Canadian Residential Appraiser of the Appraisal Institute of Canada. It was, and it remains my understanding of the original intent of minor variance was not intended for new construction after demolition of an existing house, but rather addition to existing homes, decks, sheds, etc. Or in the case of Consumers Gas, an easement. I'd like to point out at this time now that the 9 new builds that were referred to earlier, as well as the subject property here at 6 Sanderson, none of them were functionally obsolete or economically obsolete. As an example, the borough of East York, before the amalgamation of the city of Toronto, would not consider such an application. This is a policy that the city of Richmond Hill should consider. No variances for new builds. The applicant and his or her architect should have known what bylaw 3-74 permitted. The house plan should have been drawn, designed to meet the bylaw's existing restrictions. 6 Sanderson abuts 2 and 10 Sanderson. The proposal of the subject property, in my opinion, has no negative effect on 2 Sanderson, but significantly impacts 10 Sanderson. 16 and 22 Sandersons are new builds and were constructed without the need of a variance. 10 and 16 Sanderson abut one another, while 22 Sanderson is one lot removed. Regrettably, Mr. Gossi was right when he said we should expect more, but future building permits should be subject to design meeting existing bylaws, just like 16 and 22 Sanderson. The entrance to 16 Sanderson does not extend further than what is found at 10 Sanderson. And I might point out that 22 Sanderson is the same. If you stand at the front door of all these things and you look to the east, you'll see that they all line up perfectly. Now, I will admit that 6 Sanderson, the garage does protrude a bit, but certainly not what they're applying for today. If the application is approved as submitted, it should be subject to the applicant's undertaking to provide an appraisal by an accredited appraiser to determine and estimate any loss in value to 10 Sanderson. The appraiser should be acceptable to the manager of real estate, but in this case, director of real estate, I suppose, of the city of Richmond Hill. I would also like to include in the selection, I would like to be included in the selection process. The applicant should be responsible for making the owners of 10 Sanderson whole if it's determined to have lost value resulting from the new build. 10 Sanderson is occupied by the Nicholsons. They've lived there for 40 plus years. We at 3 Sanderson have lived there for 40 plus years as well. I go on to say it would be useful for the manager of real estate to attend this meeting, blah, blah. The above are my views, But what does not, but what does the Planning Act require? The Act has the 4 tests. Now that's already been addressed, and I'll just move on. I say that it's not a minor variance, and that was already talked about. Just bear with me a second. The report by the Planning Department, I have the following comments. In the section called background, it is true that the surrounding area contains existing low-rise residential units, but I would point out that there are 10 or less new builds in the whole of the neighborhood bounded by Mavern, Law, Drummond, and Sanderson. I will acknowledge that there are 3 new builds on Sanderson. The official plan, the proposed new structure, as well as the new structures in our neighborhood, are not compatible, in my opinion, and with my stated experience. Now, if someone were to have to do an appraisal of any of those new builds, there are no comparable sales in our neighborhood. They'd have to go outside of the neighborhood to find something that was comparable to what was being appraised in these new builds. That's why I say they're not compatible, they don't fit. The planning comments, again, in my opinion, the new structure is not a good fit. In the second paragraph, the newer single detached dwellings have been addressed in my comments above. With respect to the new constructions, there is an interesting trend with many of the new structures, surprisingly, going on the market after 1 year. Coincidentally, those structures, if sold, would be exempt from land transfer tax if considered to be a primary residence. The proposed staircase and encroachment into the interior side yard maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw and is not anticipated to create adverse impacts on the neighboring properties. This is your Director of Planning's words. I would like to know what qualifications Mr. Ryan Bake, am I pronouncing that right?
It's fine. Continue, please.
Okay. I'd like to know what his qualifications are, has to determine or not adjoining properties are adversely affected. I would also be interested in knowing what sales comparables were used to come to that conclusion. Are the proposed variances considered minor? The following is an online definition of minor variances. In the context of minor variance, application minor refers to a small incremental deviation from the requirements of the zoning bylaw that is deemed acceptable, does not significantly alter the overall intent of the bylaw or negatively impact the surrounding community. It's a way to address situations which strict adherence to the bylaw would create practical difficulties or undue hardship for the property owner, while still ensuring that the variances remain compatible with neighborhood and planning objectives. Again, that's a quote from the zoning bylaw, I think. 16 and 22 Sanderson were constructed to strict adherence to the current bylaw without creating practical difficulties or undue hardships to the property owner. A 43% reduction in the front yard setback is not an insignificant deviation. Then he goes on.
Sir, we heard that before. If you can please limit your comments to new stuff, we'd appreciate it.
I understand that. I'm reading from something and it's hard for me to edit it while I'm reading. Deviation from zoning bylaws. Zoning bylaws regulate various aspects of land use such as setbacks, building height, lot coverage, and parking requirements. A minor variance allows for small exceptions to these rules. The proposed exceptions outlined in the application are not small. Definition of adverse. In a matter of real estate, another term for adverse would be injurious affection. The following is the meaning of injurious affection as found in the Expropriations Act of Ontario. Injurious affection refers to the reduction in market value of remaining land due to an acquisition by statutory authorities, read applicant, or the personal and business damage resulting from the construction or the use or works on the land. This applies when the public authority acquires part of the owner's land, or even when no land is taken, but the owner's property is negatively impacted by the project. If the application is approved, and perhaps even without 10 Sanderson, if the application is approved and perhaps even without the approval, 10 Sanderson will suffer undue harm. Now, I'd like to point out that 16 and 22 Sanderson, in between that is 20 Sanderson. When those houses were going up beside them, it's a young couple. They'd only been on the street for half a dozen years or so. They had a small baby. She was pregnant a second time. Lo and behold, they had twins. So they were looking to move out and find something bigger. They were not able to get the price they wanted because they had these two new builds on either side. Injurious affection or adverse affection, take a look at, in this case, 20 Sanderson, and you have the two new builds beside, and you have a side split. If you had a side split on the other side of Sanderson without any new builds and they were identical, or better yet, if you had one just around the corner on Mayvern, which one would you buy? The one between the new builds, or the one across Sanderson, or the one around on Sanderson? My guess is you'd take the one around on Mayvern or the one across. You would not take 20
Sir, I think you've
Sanderson.
made your point very well.
Yes, I know, and I appreciate
Would you
your
like to
patience,
speak
but
more? Because we
this
have
is
a
important.
5-minute
The people that live at 10 Sanderson have been there for 40 years.
Yes, we understand.
Okay?
We understand your
That's, I
frustration.
want to hammer home, so.
Sure.
All right, I can see that
appreciate
some
that.
of you appear to be rather bored by this presentation, I'm sorry.
No,
but,
no, we are not bored. We
Okay,
understand
thank
your
you.
concerns about real estate issues.
One last thing.
Yeah.
As I said, I live at 3 Sanderson Crescent. It's a same model home as what 6 Sanderson is. We just put somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 worth of improvements in our home. I have suggested to the owners of 6 Sanderson that they'd be welcome to come and take a look what we did to our home. So maybe if they're looking for a return on their dollars or something like that, they may want to consider just doing renovations like we did rather than a new build and incur all the costs and headaches with respect to a new build. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Would anyone else like to speak on this property at 6 and Sanderson Avenue? Yes, sir. Again, I would respectfully request not to repeat anything that's already been said. And we have a 5-minute limit per person.
Only be 1 minute.
Yeah.
Do that. Yes, my name is Marty Pollack, and I just have one question, if I can direct it through the chair to the owner of the property, if you don't mind. And the question is simply, what's the harm in adhering to the bylaws? And we wouldn't be here and kind of arguing things out. So I'd like an answer to that.
Sure. So
If I
your
may.
question is, why aren't we following the bylaws?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the purpose of this committee, is to vary the bylaws. Otherwise, we wouldn't need this committee. But anyway.
No, I'm saying exactly what you're saying. But why doesn't he simply adhere to the bylaws?
If he did, you might be much worse off. All the neighbors would be much worse off. He's doing a big favor by coming here. Anyway,
Okay.
that's my opinion.
Okay, but appreciate an answer though.
Sir, you have already spoken.
Thank you.
Any other person who would like to speak to this committee, please? No, sir. Can I have the new person speak first?
Certainly.
Yeah, you've already spoken. With your name and address, please. Thank you so much.
My name is Thomas Stelling, and I live at 36 Sanderson Crescent. And I've lived there for 47 years with my wife, Marianne, back there. We only recently found out about this new build We noticed the sign go up on August the 11th. We were expecting to see something in the mail from the town telling us that something was going on. We never did. We found out probably around the 14th or the 15th that the house in question was at the other end of the street. It wasn't at 6 Anderson. It was way down at the end of the road. Totally different place. Totally confused us. Now, I must admit that I am getting on. You know, my age is catching up to me. But this really seemed odd, that the house would move all the way to the other end of the road. And it wasn't until very recently that we found out there was a mistake made. We didn't receive any of this information. We were lost with it. But having said that, let me just take you on a little history of the street. As I said, we were there for the last 47 years. About 5 or 6 years after we moved in, the other side of the street, other side of Sanderson, was developed by a builder. The original building was Cadillac Fairview. The new builder came in and he put up 19 houses, very similar to the design that we currently have, except they were brick. And where ours finished in square footage, theirs started. So they started around 2,800, 3,000 square feet. And ours ended about that. Our houses are a lot smaller too. That was our first and only experience until the infill developments took place. The community was established. Everybody had large front lawns. Ours is about 45 feet before our garage starts. The house is a little bit further back than that, but it's common on the street that everybody has a large front yard. House differences, we have good side yards, and it's a small community, very average community. The type of community where most people who are what we call average Canadians would be happy to move into. These new builds are causing us some problems, not only in construction. We had our power interrupted when they cut the power lines in the middle of winter. We've had snowstorms in the summertime when they've sanded styrene off the walls without protection. And it hasn't gone well for us. I mean, it's dirty and dusty. But I understand that's the inconvenience of having new builds go on. What bothers me, and my wife as well, is the idea that the structure of these buildings are removing the front yards from the street. And it just seems to us that it's unacceptable that if you can possibly build where everybody else has, or even the new builds have built, you should be doing that. So if you could consider that in your thoughts, we'd really appreciate it. And maybe next time around, we could get some impact on getting our information earlier, if there is going to be a next time, and finding the right house. You know, because one end of the street's a lot different than the other end. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate your comments. Would you like to come and speak? Yes, please, with your name and address.
I'll put my name down after Mr. Stelling is finished here.
Yeah, that's okay.
My name is Bert Callio. I live at 34 Mavern Crescent, Richmond Hill. You have seen my neighbor's new build already at 36 Mavern. You've seen some of us here in the past year talking about this new build before it was put up, before it was started. I'm afraid that I'm not very well versed in planning drawings and site diagrams and things like that. So I'm going to just keep my comments to something that I've been reading in these report to the Committee of Adjustments that we're able to receive. And I've just made a few notes that in the background area of subject property, we talk about a 7,100 square foot lot with a front lot with a lot frontage of 65 feet.
So, and Mr. Stellingham mentioned some of this, that these are homes that are typically, I would say, 1,500 to 1,800, 1,900 square feet. The surrounding land, the surrounding land uses include existing low-rise residential uses. The subject lands are designated neighborhood and are generally characterized by low-density residential areas and a range of service uses and facilities. Development in the neighborhood designation is required to be compatible with the character of the adjacent excuse me, and surrounding areas. And we've all been talking about this already tonight. The subject lands are zoned residential second density R2 zone. This zone permits a single detached dwelling subject to specific lot and development standards. So I suspect that this new build is going to be, whereas our homes of 40 and 50 years old are somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,900 square feet. This home is going to be substantially larger in square foot living area. And I would guess it'll be somewhere in the range of 3,500 to 4,500 square feet when it's done. So it just seems to me that it's not, I fail to understand how you can look at any of these new builds and say that they would be compatible with the character of the adjacent and surrounding areas. The other part of this equation is what happens to us when these new builds are done. We all hear from the people that are putting these homes in that they are going to be living there, they're going to be raising their families, and they just want to be part of the neighborhood. I'm going to bet that a year after these people take ownership of this new property, there's going to be a for sale sign. I know one of the new builds has had a for sale sign not recently. I think they were trying to sell the home already. They had to take it off because they could not get the value of the house that they had put all this money in to build. And it just seems so strange to me that these homes are going to be allowed to be built in this community, in this residential area that we've lived in for half of our lives. I would really like to have that sort of consideration by you folks.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else wish to speak? Sir, you've already spoken.
I know, but you said to the gentleman when he asked about the zoning bylaw that we would be better off with the severance than if they just went ahead and built it. Well, that's not true. 16 and 22, Sanderson, there was no minor variances requested. We didn't know what was happening until the houses were being demolished.
Right.
And we are far better off with 16 and 22 than any other these new builds that required variances.
I will explain that when it's my turn to speak. Thank you for your clarification, sir. Does anyone else wish to address this application at 6 Sanderson Avenue? Seeing none, do we have any comments from the planning department?
Through Mr. Chair, I just want to provide some clarifications.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, first, when we consider the consistent streetscape, it does not mean everything that has to be lined up exactly the same, especially given the unique lot configuration, which is on a curve. And the second, adverse impacts refers to land use only as required by the Planning Act. So perceived real estate is not considered at this time. And third, the proposed setback, the front yard setback is 20 feet, which is 6.1 meters, I believe, which can provide sufficient space for parking. It's a general space from transportation and planning perspective. Thanks.
Appreciate your comments. Before I go to my members, I had promised that I will respond to the two questions posed by Ms. Pollock. The first one was the location of the sign. It was relocated at your request because in the last meeting you had asked us to move it on the property of the owners, so they did that. And by now, everybody knows of this property. It has been circulated twice to the same neighborhood. So I do not think that people are not aware that where it is located and what these people are doing. It has been circulated twice to the same local residents. Regarding the 15 feet front yard setback issue, as you saw from the applicant's presentation, they could have built a lot further into the backyards, causing much more privacy issues to the neighbors on either side. What they have done, in my opinion, my personal opinion, is let the backyard be more private to their immediate neighbors, and coming in the front, as was just explained by our planning department's representative here, does not adversely impact the front from the planning point of view, in their opinion. Those are my answers to the two questions that were posed, and I would like to see if our fellow members have any further comments on this, on both sides. If anyone wants to speak to this application, yes, Ms. Payne, please go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think to the other members of the committee. From what I have heard this evening, I see a neighborhood that is objecting to what they see as the beginning of some radical changes in the neighborhood in which they have chosen to age in place. There are people who are living in this neighborhood for 30, 40 years, and the disruption of construction for new builds is not something to ignore. It is a major thing at a time of life when you have put a lot of time and money into your property, and you just want to enjoy your neighborhood, your friends, and the place where you live. I think that alone, as one of the tests, means that this application should be declined.
Excellent point. Any other comments on this application? Yes, Mr. Duretzi, go ahead, please.
Through the chair. Firstly, I'd like to hear from staff and perhaps our secretary, treasurer, or assistant. Do we have a sign issue on this property with respect to the location that sign was positioned on the lot line behind a tree protective fencing? I know we had an issue initially because it was posted off of the property, and the requirement is that the sign be located on the property. Do we have any preference or requirement that it needs to be posted centrally on the property, or is off to one side behind a tree fence acceptable?
Through you, Mr. Chair, in accordance with the Planning Act does say that a public notice sign must be posted where it is clearly visible from the street or in a position where it is accessible to the public, or in a place, and if that's not possible, in a position otherwise approved by the Secretary Treasurer.
Okay, so I know I know it's been circulated twice, it's been deferred, and a lot of people are aware of it. So let's assume that we don't have a sign issue for the time being. Okay, so firstly to the applicant, not a particular question. I just want to make a statement. You can have a seat. I did have an issue with the encroachment of your risers, the staircase going into the front of the building, and I respect the fact that you made some adjustments. Unfortunately, I was looking for somewhere in the middle, a happy medium, and you didn't quite get there. And I reserved some of my comments from the last meeting because it looked like this application was going to be deferred. So I apologize that I didn't give you any more feedback. But in light of a further review and some of the comments from our neighbors here, I think that in an area where a bylaw requirement for front yard setback is 10.72 meters, I think what you're asking for is a bit of a stretch. the purchasers of this property bought a property understanding the geometry of the lot lines and the size of the property. And I think you probably should have had a better look at how to design this house to fit into that geometry so that we could have a more respectable setback. And I would offer that a setback in the order of about 7.5 meters would be more acceptable and it would be less impactful. You might also want to consider flipping the design so the driveway is on the other side. That might allow you some leeway, and perhaps changing the box design, not the elevation, but the footprint of this house is a box on essentially a pie-shaped lot. So you're trying to wedge this in, and it's difficult. So I think you could have done a better job with the elevation, and I'm not insulting you by any way, but I think in an area where you have a setback at 10.72 meters, 6 is a bit of a stretch, in my opinion. The other comment that I wanted to make was with respect to one of the letters that were issued, noting that they disagreed with staff's interpretation that this is an area in transition. And I would agree with the comments from the community. This is not an area in transition. It was a poor choice of words that the municipality used in the staff report, in my opinion. This has just started to evolve. I don't see it as an area that's in any kind of a major transition at this point. So having said that, I'd be in support of another deferral if we want to keep this thing alive for you so that you can make some serious adjustments here and improve this not only for the community, but the owner of this property as well. So I would be supportive of a deferral so you can go back to the drawing board. Otherwise, I would not be able to support this citing that I would like to see a 7.5 meter setback. I would find that more acceptable than what you're asking for. It's just very difficult to fit this design into this lot. Thank you.
Excellent comments. We appreciate that. Does anyone else wish to address this application? Yes, Mr. Gossi, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, Mr. Chair, to the applicant. So we talked about this the last time. My recommendation would be to flip the property. You can also push it back. You can take advantage of some of the side yard setbacks. Right now, they're at 6 feet on both sides. You can make accommodation on the width of the deck so you can get the stairs in there, right? I think, I echo Mr. Duretzi's sentiment and comments in regards to this application, right? I personally don't have a problem with the house itself per se and the design, but I think maybe being a little bit more aggressive and addressing some of the residents' comments would be helpful. I personally wouldn't feel right about approving it as is. I would support a deferral. Otherwise, I couldn't support the application. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, Ms. Kalbas, your turn.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I agree with my colleagues about a deferral for the application. I understand the context of the site because it is on the convex curve of the road. Why the setback wouldn't be quite what we would typically use of the other houses, but why you would kind of put it on that similar curve. But I would echo Mr. Duretzi's comments that not only are you asking for the front yard to be quite large, you're also asking for the porch, and that's really just a little much. So I would also be in favor of a deferral with a redesign to come back. But other than that, I do think this is an application that would likely be considered as positive for me.
So the last comment would like to make is that the existing home that they are going to be demolishing also encroaches on the front yard setback substantially. And there is an opportunity if we deferred it. It seems that the rear yard encroachment is not going to be a Committee of Adjustment issue. So you can easily push the house back. It may adversely affect your neighbors, but it's not going to be a Committee of Adjustment matter anymore. So if we would like to hear from the applicant if he's in favor of a deferral before we. Yeah. I heard you, but I think officially you have to come to the mic.
Thanks. Thank you. I'll be happy to have a deferral to the next available meeting.
Excellent. Okay. I would also like take this opportunity to thank all the neighbors for giving us your views and concerns. Hopefully, this deferral will allay not all, but some of your concerns. Unfortunately, the Planning Act and the zoning bylaws dictate the size of the house. We are not here to deal with the height, the area, or the footprint. Those are already part of the zoning bylaw. But we appreciate you coming here today and making us aware of everything. I don't think the sign is an issue. I don't think the circulation is an issue, but this deferral will hopefully come with a successful result for everybody involved. We thank everybody for taking your time, your effort from your amazing summer evening to come here and put us in the right path. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
We're gonna do a motion now. Go ahead, Mr. Gossi.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to defer item I on today's agenda at 6 Sanderson Crescent, file number MV-25-33, at no cost.
Moved by Mr. Gossi, seconded by Ms. Payne. All in favor? Unanimous. It is deferred. Now, we will defer it to the end of the year or the soonest, okay? And at no cost to the applicant. Sir, we are done?
Just one question.
Very fast.
I'll ask it from here if I may. As far as inspections go, I'm in the middle of one of the builds, obviously. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you going to talk about this application?
No.
Oh,
I just want a clarification.
can you wait? We have just one more application to hear. It's not fair to the next applicant to take more time.
Oh,
So we would like the next applicant to come, and then we will hear you.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. Our next application is application number A070-23, located at 9860 Bayview Avenue. Sir, you're welcome to stay until the end of the meeting if you want.
Oh, no.
Sure? Okay. Okay.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Simon West. I'm the designer and the agent for this project. So we have a two-story new construction that we're proposing to do. The house is going to be a multi-generational home, so not just the client, but his children and his grandparents will also be living in this house. We have letters of consent from the neighbor on Palmer Avenue, and we've spoken to the neighbor on Bayview Avenue. They have no issue, but they didn't actually want to sign any letters. I think the big issue with this project, from the planning perspective, is they've reviewed this project based on the 2.6 meter loss of land, where the region is actually going to be taking that land away, or at least they're alleging that they're going to be doing that. So far, the region has just resurfaced the road. They've replaced some lights. I actually don't believe that the 2.6 meter will probably ever happen. My client's not been informed, and my client has not been compensated. And he was in conversations with the region April of last year. So they've had over a year to actually contact my client regarding compensation for the loss of his land. They've never done that. So in my opinion, I actually don't think that's ever going to happen. So I'd like to go over the bylaws and what they would be before or after. So I sent you guys a drawing of a before and after. And the before and after discusses the GFA and the coverage, what the GFA and the coverage were before the 2.6 meter issue came up. And they were all very close to what would be acceptable to most municipalities. So coverage, for example, used to be at around 38.42%, whereas 30% is what's allowable. And GFA, 40% is allowable, and we were at 60.28. When the 2.6 meter loss of land occurred, my client lost 119 meters squared of his land, almost 16% of his land. And so the numbers for committee for coverage went up to 46%, and the GFA went to 72%. And this also affects all of the, or at least a number of the zoning variances, where you see a zoning variance which looks pretty harsh. In reality, before the 2.6 meter, it was actually somewhat acceptable, in my opinion. If you want to, I can go over the itemization of the zoning bylaws. Do you want me to go over them?
I don't need you to.
Okay.
Do members want that detail? No, we're fine. Thank
Okay. So as far as the 4 tests, I've read through the planning response, and because I have a letter from one neighbor and I have agreement from another neighbor, in theory, to me, that signifies that the 4 tests have passed, because I'm not affecting anybody in the neighborhood or anybody immediately in the neighborhood. And within the neighborhood already, there are existing homes that are being built, existing 2-story homes that are being built. So density is already starting to grow. Height is already starting to grow. Setbacks are already increasing. So I'm just adding to that with this new home. Do you have any questions for me?
We'll see. Does anyone in the audience wish to address this application at 9860 Bayview Avenue, application number A070-23? Seeing none?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
This is my
No, well, would you like to say something?
Just quickly, my name's Omar Khan.
Okay.
I'm the spouse of the owner.
Could you speak closer to the mic?
Sorry, I would just point out that Calvin Millet in the region has already supported this design based on the assumption of land of the 2.4 meters, even though there's no foreseeable position that that's going to take place.
Appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Having no comments from the audience, does the planning department wish to address this application?
Through you, Mr. Chair, no comments.
Thank you. And do members have any further comments on this application? Yes, Mr. Gossi, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. I tried my best to keep an open mind about this file. I understand there's a loss of land here, but I have yet, I don't know how long I've been here now, maybe about 6 years, yet to see this numerous number of variances and the degree of which the variances are being requested. I can't support this application.
For your comment, any other comments? Mr. Durezzi, go ahead.
Through the chair. So this requirement for the easement and the daylight triangle is a little perplexing, a little confusing. Typically, the region want those widenings in that land. They'll, like you said, present an offer. They'll do an appraisal. We'll submit that to you, and then you can get your own appraisal done, determine what the value of the land is, et cetera, and then that process takes place. The region probably have intentions to do something on Bayview Avenue, similar to what they did on Yonge Street, to widen it and have the buses run along the center lane. So this is likely why they're asking for that widening, but it doesn't seem like they're asking for it right now.
Correct.
If you make an application under site alteration or site plan, and I'm not necessarily certain you actually need site plan for this single-family dwelling, that would be the time when the region would come in and take it. And they would not compensate you for anything at that time because you're making a development application to take it for free. Okay? So it doesn't seem like that has really been established yet for me to even kind of make a decision on this. Having said that, it's fronting a regional road or it's flanking a regional road. And typically along regional roads, the infrastructure and the money spent by the region on that transportation laneway, they like to see higher density on their frontage. What you're proposing is a single family dwelling. It's not a higher density. It's consistent with what's in the official plan, what's in the community in terms of it being a single family dwelling. That's all you're proposing. So I don't particularly have an issue with taking a property that is completely run down, like that property on the corner there, and enhancing it and bringing something nice to the community along a regional road where there's transit. And I know the region have no issue with the building being close to their new property line. Sometimes even a half-meter setback or a 2-meter setback is all that they really need.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused as to why the application's being turned down, and something's missing here for me, and it's because of this widening that maybe is affecting the municipality's decision to move forward because it's triggering all of these variances. So if you don't need the widening or the daylight triangle, let's get that determined and engraved in stone, if you will, and let's get some comments from the region so that everybody can move forward. I would basically suggest to you a deferral.
The region has already talked to us about this. They've talked to it over a year ago and have approved it.
However, I don't have that document in front of me.
Do we have that document?
And neither do the committee members, and nor has it been circulated or attached to the staff report. It would be very helpful.
Absolutely, that's a.
I did see the note back in 2024.
Sorry, just a minute. I have to interrupt. If you wish to speak, you have to go to the speaker.
Apologies.
Yeah, so anyway, but before you comment, there was a letter from the region or an email, but I looked at the date and it's June 14th, 2024. Their comments seem to be reasonable.
Yeah, and that's the same.
Is that what you're about to refer to?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, at this point, gentlemen, I mean, I really don't see a problem with it excluding the request for the widening and the daylight, but I just need more information. I would ask you to consider a deferral. That would be my position.
Absolutely, we would. If it means that we require a deferral, we'll absolutely proceed on that basis. However, I would just point out that I spoke with Calvin Millet at length during June of last year, 2024, and the existing structure, the only change was the garage, because the issue that the region had was that the laneway, there was no turn in the road for vehicles to exit, face forward onto Bayview. So we set back the garage, and then Calvin Millet said, that's fine. He reduced the daylight triangle to 7.5 meters based on the assumption of the road widened. So we've gone through that ad infinitum to get to the existing email of June 14th to confirm that the daylight triangle that has been proposed is acceptable and supported by the region. And that's on the assumption that it has been widened.
Okay, so then that's the municipality is basing all of that, all those variances on that.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That was like that was the final email from the region to say we support your proposal, your concept. So it would be a delay essentially if we go back to a deferral, because it will be the same response that we would get from the region, is my point.
Well, it looks to me like it's conceptual in terms of what the region might foresee happening, but is it happening? Is it happening now at the time that you're requesting this variances?
Yes.
If it's not, then I don't know why we have all.
Sorry, the only thing that's occurred is they've repaved the road, they've repainted some of the lines, and they've replaced some of the lights. They've just done structural fixes to the road. They haven't widened anything.
No, no, I understand.
And that the corner rounding is usually pretty typical on any corner property anyway.
Right, you just,
Just for visual.
my final point is we have a staff report that is telling us to reject the application. That's what this committee has before them.
Yeah, and I'm saying that is based on this 2.6 meter, which is not happening.
Right, so how do we move forward, without anything more concrete 2025 from the region in terms of whether this is happening or not? That's all I'm saying.
So it just comes down to us finding an email from Mr. Millett, sending it to you saying that the expansion is not occurring. He won't say that. He will always say the 2.6 meter is occurring. It's just not occurring now. It might not occur for 30 years.
Excuse me, sorry, I have to interrupt.
That's okay.
The way I understand it is they want a reserve. The York region wants the ability at some point in future to take that land. And they're not going to change their opinion. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
So, Mr. DeRazzi, my point is they have to allow the region, even 30 years from today, to take that land.
Okay,
The
so-
region will not agree to give that back.
I
Yeah.
understand that. I fully understand that. My position is that a minor variance application should be applied for once the land has been taken, not today that the land has not been taken. The property should be assessed on the basis of what land is here today. If it hasn't been dedicated to the region, we can't be putting variances on a property where the land has not been dedicated to the region, or there's no condition that it will be dedicated as part of this application within the 2-year period or whatever time frame that the condition needs to be fulfilled. That's my position.
Okay, once again, I have to speak. So has the region asked you to dedicate that piece of land to them before you build?
They've just asked us to show the 2.6 meter. That's the only thing they've asked us to do. And with everything else, as far as the width of the driveway, they've agreed to that already. They're like, we don't have any problems with that. They have no problems with the project.
I
other
know
than
they
the
don't
fact
have
that
any problems
planning-
with the project, but they have asked you to give them that land?
No, they have not
They haven't?
asked. No.
Okay. So then
They've asked you to show it
just
on
a
the
minute,
drawing.
I need to just get some clarity here. Mr. DeRazzi's point, the way I understand it, is why is the planning department using that encroachment as that's my question to the planning department, Darren.
If I might, through the
That-
chair, before
Yeah, go
I-
ahead.
if there are no comments from the region on this circulated staff report. If the region were going to take they would indicate that in their comments.
Yes, precisely.
So again, my question to the planning department is why are you taking the the land acquisition by the region in assessing the variances when they're not taken?
Through you, Mr. Chair, based on my understanding, when we received this application, we sent it to zoning staff for review under the applicable zoning bylaw, and they identified the requested variances and sent back to us. So I believe the staff on this file provide his comments based on what the zoning staff provided.
Okay, Mr. DeRazzi, one last comment.
One last comment. So in the official plan, is the dedication of Bayview Avenue in the official plan to take that piece of land? Is it identified in the official plan? Because road widenings are identified on all of the streets in Richmond Hill within the official plan. So when you say it went to planning staff and they came back and said that this is what needs to be taken, is it listed in the official plan to take that swath of land from this property?
Through Mr. Chair to committee member, we, in addition to circulating the application to zoning staff, we also circulated it to the region, and we rely on the region's comments. Unfortunately, we have not received the formal comments. We received correspondence from the region staff, but they didn't provide a formal comment specifying the request for the road widening. And also the OP identifies ultimate right of way, and the region will take the land they need.
Okay, thank you for that. Once again, it sounds as though we're missing some information here. So that's why I'm suggesting a deferral.
2024. It's over a year and a half ago. Well, maybe I'm pushing a little bit, but it's well over a year. And if they've not provided comments within 1 year, a year and a half, a year and a quarter, and it's not in the official OPA, then it's not happening.
Right. So through the chair,
from my perspective, it's not happening.
through the chair, like I said, I don't particularly have an issue with what you're requesting. It's just this is has a lot of confusion in it for me to make a decision. I like to have all the information available to me, and a 2024 letter on an application here that is 2025, it just doesn't do it justice for me. So that's why I'm suggesting a deferral, just so we can dot the i's and cross the t's.
Sorry. So the email that was sent in 2024, I requested from Calvin Millett in the region for that same letter and confirm his position as of presently. And he said he continues to support, and that's based on the email that we received in June 14, 2025. So his position hadn't changed in the entirety of that year. And I also should point out that this design was circulated to the city back in April of last year. The city circulated it to all relevant bodies, including the region. It was the region that raised the objection in June of 2024. The redesign process took place in June of 2024. It was supported by the region in June of 2024. It was recirculated because of the winter. There was no point proceeding with the build during the winter. It was recirculated in April, and that's when the city, for some reason, said, oh, we have an issue because of the road widening. Well, the region have no issue with the road widening. Why does the city, is my position. Thank you.
Just a second. Before you rebuttal, Mr. Duretzi, there is no point in doing a deferral if you guys don't know what we're going to come back with. Are you clear what the deferral requires? I'm just going to ask Mr. Duretzi to repeat or request, or there's no point to me in doing a deferral if you're going to come back with the same exact information that you have given us today. So could you address that, Mr. Duretzi?
Through the chair. So like I said, I don't have an issue with what you're proposing to put there. I think it's an improvement in the area. I really do. You're removing an eyesore, and I think it's good for the community. So I could put a motion forward to approve the application, but we have other committee members here who may not agree with me based on the contents of the staff report, which means this could get rejected, and then you're at the Ontario Land Tribunal. So is that the direction you want to go to save time? You want to go straight to the Land Tribunal, or do we want to defer? That's the position that you're in.
Mr. Duretzi, I would request Ms. Kalbas to give her position.
Sorry, my question is actually to the planning staff, through you, Mr. Chair. It is, what is the mechanism under the Planning Act under which the region will request this setback and the daylight triangle? Do they have a mechanism?
Through Mr. Chair to committee member, once we receive a development and we circulate it to different departments and external agencies, if it abuts a regional road, the region will typically provide comments and request a certain width of the right-of-way to be conveyed to the region, and we will review the proposal based on their comments. And at this time, Bayview Avenue is classified as a regional road. So that's the reason we circulated it to the region and rely on their comments. Thanks.
Right, and to the planning staff, you mentioned that the region did not provide their comments in an official position, like you did not receive a letter from the planning department at the, I don't know if they even commented anymore, but did you receive something other than this email from Calvin Millett that's from the region to the city?
Yeah, through Mr. Chair, we did receive email from the region, and they said they have reviewed the proposal and has no further comments or concerns.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, there seems to be some confusion. I'm strictly looking at the staff report. I think this needs to be deferred, in my opinion, and we need to clean up, some of the documentation. And personally, I'm a little bit confused right now.
So what do you require from us to give to you?
I'm not clear what the.
I don't get it. If there's no comments from them, then there's no
We can
comments.
make a motion and take a risk.
Yeah, so I'll clarify my position through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, in 10 years, the region may not widen the road. They may not do anything in that 2.6 meters. They have not, as you said, they have not given you an offer or anything of such. But in approving this application, we are approving it in perpetuity. So this will apply to this property forever until the zoning bylaw is changed. And so in my consideration of this is in 30 years from now, if I'm still in the neighborhood and everyone else is still in the neighborhood, how will this property function on Bayview Avenue that will become an even more busier road, that will have bus lanes on it, that might have a Viva lane on it? Kind of, this isn't just a today question, right? This is a question for the rest of the kind of the structure and whatever else might be on this property later on.
What about all the other properties along Bayview? How they're all going to get affected as well.
Absolutely, but this is the application for us today. And if we approve this, this will be if the region then comes and takes that triangle and takes that piece of land, this house will essentially be at 1.2 meters from Bayview Avenue.
I would just add, the structure opposite our building is a communal building. And if the road is widened, if you look at the plans, the road would abut that communal building. So the chances of the road widening to the extent that they're proposing is already restricted based on the existing structure south of Palmer Avenue. There's approximately 10 apartments in one building there. And if the road is widened, it will be abutting the wall there.
Excellent point.
Through the chair, if I just might comment with the committee members, a statement about what happens in 30 years. My experience with these things is region comes along and requests widenings and daylight triangles all the time. And every property will have to get assessed at the time when the region are taking those variances. And if, the widenings and daylights, and if a variance is required, I'm not sure if the applicant has to go through that process because they own the land, but the region would pay all of those expenses that they're imposing on you as a result of the widening that they're taking and putting you in a position where you would have to apply for a variance to stay in conformance. So again, my position is that all of these variances would come into effect at that time. And the region were, I guess, kind enough to say, this is what we're looking for today and into the future. And they're satisfied with that. They're giving you some feedback as to where to position it. But I just don't see that these variances are required today. That's what I'm saying. So I have no problem moving forward with a motion this evening with this application. But again, you could find yourself, like I said, at an Ontario Land Tribunal, or it could get turned down because we have 5 members here.
Yeah.
So that's the risk you take.
Do you mind if I have a couple of minutes to confirm with my
We
client?
can move on. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Members of the committee, would it be possible to, because I'm not entirely sure what I require from the region to satisfy the planning department and what it is that I could do to lay any concerns of yours. So if we were to, could it be approved conditionally? Is that something that you would entertain based on comments that the region may take? Because I'm not sure what I need to provide.
The planning department has a comment. We'd like the planning department to say something at this point.
Yeah, thanks. Through you, Mr. Chair, we would recommend a clear position on the road widening requirement from the region of York, and we commit to seek their clarification after this meeting, and we will provide more information and updates.
There you go.
So just to understand this, we need clarification from the region on the road widening.
Do we?
Okay. We know it's not happening at this time. I've got pictures if you prefer to see where they're actually asphalting Bayview Avenue and improving the traffic light systems on Palmer Avenue and repairing the walkways on the corner of Palmer and Bayview Avenue. So the likelihood of the widening taking place any time in the foreseeable future.
We just want to know whether you want us to vote or defer.
We will defer in that case just to and obtain the clarification from the region. Is that my understanding?
Yes, that's what.
Planning department, could you repeat what you just said? Like, were you going to assist with the deferral? Is that my understanding?
Through Mr. Chair, yes, we would contact the region directly to get more clarification from them and get back to you.
Even though they say no comment at this stage.
Yeah, we do need their official comment on the road widening.
Are you good with that?
I'm good with that. I would just reiterate
So it seems like we're moving towards a deferral with planning department's assistant. You will get some more information.
Thank you.
Is that clear to everybody now? It's clear to me, a lot clearer to me now than it was before.
Yeah, it's crystal.
In that case, I would request a motion.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Caldas.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, I make a motion to defer application A070/23 located at 9860 Bayview Avenue without cost to the applicant prior to the end of the year with the request that the region of York provide their comments on the road widening and the application itself.
Moved by Ms. Caldas, seconded by Mr. Duretzi. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you for your time, and thank you to the planning department for cooperating.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Have a nice day. You can take her with you.